And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Tuesday, June 16th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Got another great day going for us here. A terrific type of Tuesday, if you will. The sun is shining, and it's good to be alive this morning. We're glad to be on the air, of course, for Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Tracy Pope is here, as per usual. Good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to see your smiling face.
It's great to see you as well.
Do you want to say anything about this thing that's coming up?
Sure, yes. As you know, I'm employed with Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, but I'm also on the board for Leadership Wilson. And we have an annual fundraiser, and we rotate years. And this year we have a reverse draw that will be held on July the 13th, Monday, July the 13th. Right now, it is scheduled to be at Five Oaks Golf and Country Club, but if restrictions are still in place and we are not able to host a live event, it will be a virtual event. So our fundraiser is proceeding on in some fashion, but we still have tickets for sale. It's $100 per ticket, the chance to win $10,000 in a reverse draw.
Right, and this has been going on for several years, and a lot of people participate every year in it. So just a quick word about that. Of course, we are here for Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, and you've brought a guest this morning that we get to talk to, somebody new to meet, I believe.
Absolutely. So we have Dr. Thomas Oliver. He's with Vanderbilt Urology here in Lebanon, and we've been patiently awaiting his time with us. We have been without a urologist in Wilson County for almost 2 years, and so we are so grateful that he is here to help us with the service.
Well, I understand that you're new to our area.
I am Coleman.
Well, good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
I guess I should have said that first. But
I'm
certainly
so glad to be here.
Welcome you, and we'd like to know a little bit about you. Where were you last located?
I was last located in Athens, Georgia, where I practiced for 30 years.
Oh, is that where the university?
That's Bulldog Country.
Okay. I was thinking. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, we got a big UT fan coming in here for the second half.
Is that right?
I hope you get to
Well,
meet.
no battles, I guess.
But tell us, if you will, about where you got started, maybe even where you grew up.
Sure.
A lot of things we'd like to know about new people that come here.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from North Carolina. I grew up in a really small town near Charlotte. And
Mayberry?
Almost. Huntersville. It's a really small town. At that time, it has grown to like 40,000 now because they're close to the lake, Lake Norman. But back in the 70s, I moved to Georgia and went to high school there, close to Athens. Attended University of Georgia and then went down to Augusta for 10 years to get my training done. And when I got through, I tried to decide where I wanted to live, and Athens seemed to be a logical choice. So we went back, and I've been there 30 years.
You have family?
I do. I have 2 brothers. My mom and dad are in their 90s, and I have 4 children and 6 grandchildren.
Okay. At what point did you decide that the medical field was for you?
Well, I was probably around 13, 14, and I just felt called to do it. There are certain times in your life you have to sit and decide what your decisions are in life, and that was one of them. So.
How difficult was all of this? To be an MD, you go through a lot more schooling than most people, about twice as much, I guess.
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 or 10
It's
years.
a long road.
Yeah.
You have to be patient and focused. You have to be.
and you evidently were.
There were times when I was wondering, is this really the right thing? But yeah.
Why this particular field? How did this come about?
Kind of by accident. I thought I wanted to be a pediatrician, but in my 3rd year of medical school, they have rotations where you go through different services. And I did pediatrics, my very first one. I was so excited. Then I found out that crying sick children and dying children was not my forte. So I do enjoy treating kids. I don't do as much of that as I used to. But
But when you made that decision to change a little bit, did that affect you much time-wise?
No, I didn't lose any time. Then I thought I wanted to be just a general practitioner because I had a couple of good ones when I was growing up that were, inspirational to me. But then I figured, okay, you've got to know so much about everything. How can you really be great at one thing? So I figured, okay, I like looking at x-rays, so maybe I'll do radiology. So I started actually interviewing for spots to be a radiologist, and then I figured out they don't have much patient contact. What am I going to do this for? They don't. So about 2 months before I finished, I did a urology rotation. And the guys were happy. They enjoyed what they were doing. They were doing surgery. They were reading x-rays. They were treating kids and adults. So I said, hey, I think I found it.
Interaction with patients there as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So you've been in Georgia for 30 years as a doctor in the medical field.
Yes, sir.
What brought you here?
Well, when I was getting close to 30 years and 25 years of running my own practice, my kids are up here. One of my children has been up here 15 years. He went to Belmont and played basketball there. So we got to know the area through the years. And my daughter moved here, and she went to school here. And now that I have 4 grandkids here, that's a big draw.
All right. So it worked out for you to come and
That's
and
right.
be affiliated with Vanderbilt and
right.
with our hospital here.
That's right.
Well, where are you located?
1616 West Main.
Isn't everything?
It is, yes.
Everything's at 16.
We are filling the building up. Yes, we call that
Still got one floor left.
it's
though.
our Vanderbilt Health Lebanon building. No, we have a whole 3rd floor. We need to renovate and can add more
It
specialties.
seems like everybody you brought out here for the last 3 or 4 weeks, or 3 or 4 times, has been
I
in
know.
the 1616.
Very
West
easy to find people if you need it.
That's right.
Main. Well, have you? How long have you been here?
I've only been here about a month.
Well, have you gotten adapted and moved in and everything going pretty well?
The computer system is probably the hardest thing to get used to. It's very difficult, but everybody else is going through the same thing, so I'm not alone in that.
Well, why would somebody need to see a urologist?
Well, we treat a lot of the diseases, starting with the kidneys. We do everything other than dialysis. Okay, so if you have a kidney stone or kidney growth or blood in the urine, blockages of the urinary tract, that's what we deal with. The bladder, the bladder can get cancer. Smoking is one of the biggest risk factors for that. And we treat that, and leakage of urine, incontinence, we treat that. Any kind of men's health problem we deal with. So,
Well, now, do you see anybody just about any age, male or female, or?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, we don't do what gynecologists do. We don't do female
Okay.
problems like that, but we do treat incontinence with a variety of ways.
Well, there are a lot of reasons and a lot of different things really that you deal with being a urologist,
Yes.
and you've got to. I guess you did quite a study of anatomy and all that when you were in school.
Right. But you're always learning something. You just got to keep your mind open. And
Is there one problem that is more common than what would be the thing you treat the most, the biggest problem?
in this area, I found it to be stones and blood in the urine seems to be the top things that I'm seeing right now. But a lot of urologists treat prostate disease, whether it's infection or enlargement or cancer or just an elevated PSA, or trying to figure out, what disease do they have. So we do a lot of that.
Yeah. All right, it is about time for us to take a break. Dr. Thomas Oliver, Vanderbilt Urology Lebanon, affiliated, of course, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital is here along with Tracy Pope, and you're listening to Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
All right, it's now 7:13. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. It's all brought to you by Bates Ford, and they've got that regular oil change. It's on special, $24.95, up to 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, and they'll pick up and deliver your vehicle to you absolutely free. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. There's just a couple of minor wrecks out here right now, like Alabama Avenue at 51st there on the west side. It's busy down through Mount Juliet right now. You got all that traffic flow coming out of Wilson County, coming westbound now on I-40 up past the airport through Hermitage and Donaldson. Hey, if your glasses just keep fogging up, the answer is ZipWax Anti-Fog Cleaner, voted one of the best products under $20. Log on to zipwaxantifogcleaner.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. Our program presented by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Again, great to have both with us today, Director of Community Relations and Dr. Thomas Oliver, who is new to Vanderbilt. Is all your practice, by the way, going to be here in Lebanon? Are you going to be doing some in Nashville, or how's that?
Most of it's going to be here. At this point, I came out of retirement to work part-time, so I'm not here every day. But I will do some teaching eventually down at the main campus. I'm primarily focused here, and I will have a nurse practitioner before long.
Well, we were talking about why somebody would need to see a urologist, and there are a number of things that you mentioned here, but one of the things is kidney stones. Let's talk about that and talk about the symptoms and maybe the treatment and even the cause. Kidney stones.
We'll start with risk factors first, if that's okay. Dehydration is the number one cause of kidney stones. People are not drinking enough fluid. It's not the kind of fluid they're drinking. It's like well water or, purified water or whatever. It's the volume. They need to drink about 2 liters or 2 quarts a day, or maybe even more, because they need to make that much urine in a day. Mm-hmm. So a lot of stone formers don't like water or just don't drink enough water. The lemonade would be the next best thing, because lemonade has citrus in it, okay? So citrate is a stone crystal inhibitor. So if you don't like water, at least drink lemonade, okay? Other risk factors are gout, okay? Gout causes uric acid levels to be high in the urine, which doesn't dissolve very well. So the old-fashioned way of treating that was do baking soda every day. Put a teaspoon of baking soda in water and alkalize your body a little bit, and it gets rid of the stones. So that's kind of interesting.
If somebody has a bout with gout, mm-hmm. Is that a sign or an indication they might have some
They
stones?
do sometimes go together, but it's not 100%. So you can have gout without kidney stones.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go together.
All right. Then what? I've never had the problem, but I've heard talked to some people, heard some people express what a problem a kidney stone can be, the pain that's involved, and so on. What all do you do once something that somebody's diagnosed that way?
Not all stones hurt, and that doesn't make sense, but let me explain it. A kidney stone that is still in the kidney and not moving doesn't hurt. Once it moves out of the kidney and in the pipe, it's become a ureteral stone. So that's what hurts, because the blockage occurs that stretches the pipe. You have lots of nerves around your kidney and pipes, so it's very intense pain, and usually you get sick if you get a blockage because your intestines slow down. So Not all stones hurt, but it's pretty intense pain.
Well, are there people who have kidney stones and maybe have them for a lengthy period
Oh,
of time,
yes.
don't even know it? No.
Oh, absolutely. Most people that have had stones, I see them. We get a plain film called a KUB. It's just a one-shot abdomen film. And they could have 10 or 15 stones that just haven't moved yet. So just...
Well, if you have a kidney stone or stones, can you pretty much know that at some point in the future, you're going to have a problem with them?
Yes, certain size we treat. If it's about 5 or 6 millimeters or higher, then we're more prone to treat it because it would be hard to pass. If it's 4 millimeters or smaller, high likelihood of being able to pass that kind of stone. So it really depends on size and number.
Well, what all treatment is available? And I think surgery is an option at times, right?
Right. Well, prevention is number one, right?
Yes.
So there are tests that we can do to figure out why a specific person is making stones. It's a 24-hour urine test that is turned in and analyzed, and we can figure out, do you need to be on medicine to reduce the calcium in your urine? Do you need to be on something to reduce uric acid? Let's see, citrate. You can be just low in citrate, and that's why we say lemonade. Limes aren't as common as lemons, so you could drink lime water. And orange juice tends to irritate a lot of people's stomachs, so lemonade's our best choice to get citrate.
Is surgery pretty much a last resort in this treatment?
No, I mean, sometimes I get called in the middle of the night and somebody is deathly sick with a stone that's blocking them and they have infection. I have to go in right then. I have to go in and unblock it immediately. So, but elective surgery for stone recently has just been allowed. We weren't doing it during COVID. We weren't doing elective lithotripsy. That's a word that means stone breakup. So lithotripsy is an external treatment to break up bigger kidney stones. Ureteroscopy is when you go in to the pipe and extract it. So it depends on whether the stone is higher up in the pipe or lower in the pipe about what you're going to do.
All right, let's move to another thing. You were talking about blood in the urine, and what are some of the causes of that?
Stones would be number one. Infections are a big cause, and it's particularly in women. And cancers of the urinary tract. You can get kidney cancer in the meat of the kidney, or you can get a cancer in the lining that's coming out of the kidney. So we have to do a methodical evaluation, starting with x-rays of the kidneys and the pipes, but you have to scope the lower urinary tract because the x-rays are so unreliable for the lower urinary tract. And also doing a couple other urine studies that 99% of the time is going to rule out whether something's benign or not.
But if there is blood in the urine, there's a problem. There's a cause.
It's not normal.
Yeah. Okay.
So absolutely.
You need to do something about it. I would think pronto.
Yeah. One of my mentors 30 years ago was posed the question, how many red blood cells in the urine does it take to be abnormal? He said 1. So, a lot of tests that are done in doctors' offices are called a dipstick, where it's a chemical analysis for hemoglobin. Hemoglobin's only found in red blood cells. So that's a good screening tool, and then we confirm it and go from there.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about prostate problems.
Okay.
That, of course, is a man thing.
Absolutely.
And I have heard that if you live long enough, you're probably going to have some problems in that area.
That's right. The prostate is one of the organs in the body that is scheduled to grow. It's hormone dependent on testosterone, which gets converted to another hormone called DHT. And the DHT is 5 times stronger in making the prostate grow. So one of our treatments is a medicine that blocks the formation of DHT, and that is finasteride or dutasteride. So those shrink the prostate about 50% of the time. 50% of the volume, I'm sorry, 50% of the volume. And tone also matters about how tight the prostate is. So other medicines called alpha blockers relax the tone of the prostate. So it could be a combination treatment. But if you get to the point where you're not responding to the maximum dose of both, then you have to start thinking about surgical therapy, about trimming it out.
Cancer gets involved here a lot.
Absolutely. PSA came out in 1983 when I was in medical school, and quickly became one of the best tools that we had to detect prostate cancer at an early stage. When I was a student, we didn't find prostate cancer until it was too late to do anything about it. So we had treatments with them, but we really couldn't cure it.
Well,
So
as far as prostate cancer goes, what can be done, and is it lethal? It is at times, I think.
about 25% of the people that get prostate cancer die of it. So, a lot of the public thinks that, if I get prostate cancer, it's not that big a deal. But 25% of them do.
What can be done when one is diagnosed with prostate cancer? You do
there are a variety of treatments.
You do treatment for
I
that?
do.
Okay.
I do. Not one thing fits everybody, okay? So you have to tailor make it to the patient's health problems, their age. Not that we discriminate, but, the average age, of a American man is, in the late 70s now. So we stopped screening at about age 70. We're not really supposed to get PSAs or do examinations of the prostate after age 70, but we will if the patient desires it. So that's that. We usually start around age 50. Unless there's a family history in your family, then we would do that at age 45 up to 70. But it just involves an examination of PSA every year.
I take it you recommend that?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, very much.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You will get different recommendations based on which organization is your governing body. So, a primary care doc has a different governing body than we do, so he might have a different recommendation. So, but that's what the urologist recommend.
And as far as the treatment for prostate cancer.
Okay, well, most common treatment that we have is surgery, and it's usually for younger men with aggressive disease. Low-grade prostate cancer, Gleason score 6, and you only have a couple of biopsies out of 12 that are positive. You could actually watch that patient for years with PSAs, exams, MRIs, those sorts of evaluations. Even genetic evaluation is being done to see how aggressive a tumor might act.
Is there medicine prescribed for this?
No medicine strictly for prostate cancer unless it's advanced. But local treatments are surgery, radiation therapy, which can be given externally, or internal seeds. We will probably have that available before long. We're supposed to be opening up the radiation center. Isn't that right, Tracy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say about other bladder or urinary problems? We got just a couple of minutes here.
Okay. I wasn't quite through with treatments.
Well, go ahead.
Cryotherapy is freezing the prostate. So in the older men with aggressive disease, you want to try to control it as best you can. Then we would do cryotherapy. So we'll more than likely have that available here as well. It's not quite available, but I believe we will.
And any other problems that you deal with that you want to mention here?
Bladder problems, urinary incontinence. We treat a lot of women with urinary problems. We don't do exactly what a gynecologist does, but sometimes we overlap. So one gynecologist may not feel comfortable doing bladder suspension and incontinence treatment. So
All right. Do people need a referral to come to see you?
most of the time, yes, either through the emergency room or through their primary care. We don't really take walk-ins.
Any particular reason? You just got enough without it, or?
Well, right now, yes. Me being alone and I'm seeing everybody,
Yeah.
it's just a little bit much to
Yeah.
open it up quite that much.
Well, Dr. Thomas Oliver, Vanderbilt urology, he's been doing this for over 30 years.
That's right.
And here in Lebanon now, and available. And this is again, Tracy, something you're really pleased with, because we haven't had a urologist here for a while.
Absolutely. It's a very common service line that is needed for many patients, and we are so thankful to have Dr. Oliver here with us, and he helps, cover the hospital as well as his main practice. And like he said, walk-in is not the ideal patient. Most of the time they need to, check in with their primary care physician, especially since we're still in the restrictions that we're in. They need to, talk to their healthcare provider and just see if this is the appointment that they need. But all of the service lines that we've been mentioning lately are located on our website, VanderbiltWilsonCountyHospital.com, and you can see his location, find directions, phone number to make an appointment, whatever you might need.
And again, he's at 16 West Main. The
Correct.
Blue Building.
Yes.
All right. Well, Dr. Thomas Oliver, thanks for being with us today. We appreciate your visit.
Oh, I've enjoyed it very much.
And that is part one of Coleman and Company. It's presented each Tuesday by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. And Tracy, thank you again. We'll see you next time. And we'll take a break here, so keep it where it is, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:29. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota and Rental. Lamprey, quality tractor implements, including cutters, finish mowers, box blades, tillers, and more. 5-year gearbox warranty. Extremely durable and well-built. 1325 West Main. Now in traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. Traffic volume building pretty good out here out of Dixon County on I-40 right now, especially eastbound up past 840 through Kingston Springs. It's a minor collision in East Nashville at Gallatin Pike at Briley Parkway. Out on the west side, mopping up that earlier wreck in Alabama Avenue at 51st. Hey, if your glasses keep getting fogged up, the answer is ZipWax. Any fog cleaner, voted one of the best products under $20. Log on now. ZipWaxAnyFogCleaner.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Vanderbilt Health is honored to announce the newest addition to our family of hospitals, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital in Lebanon. This hospital will provide care for Wilson County residents with the goal of improving the health and well-being of our newest community. Hospitals are for healing, new life, and recovery. They're places of innovation and learning. At the end of the day, hospitals are all about one thing: community. Thank you for welcoming us into yours. Let's do great things together.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Today's forecast calls for nothing but bright sunny skies and highs in the mid-80s. On Wednesday, more sunny weather is in the forecast with temperatures climbing into the mid-80s. By Thursday, temperatures warm up into the upper 80s with those humid, muggy conditions returning. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, we welcome you to part two here on a Tuesday morning. Sean Dozier has joined us. He's Executive Director for Hearthside Senior Living, and we say good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
How are you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. It's a great day out there. Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Yesterday was beautiful, too. I was inside most of the day, and I walked out, and I was like, wow.
It was a magnificent
It
Monday.
was.
This is a terrific
Tuesday. It's always good to be here. Good to see Mike. Good to see Tracy. Good to meet Dr. Oliver. He's very nice.
Yeah. He said he's a Georgia Bulldog.
I know. I heard that.
Get introduced to Mike?
He did.
Okay.
Tracy introduced him.
Well, of course, you're here to talk about Hearthside. I hope things are going well.
Things are going great. You know, the governor told all of us in the senior living industry we could open back up yesterday. But we decided to say, hold on just a second. You know, we needed a couple of weeks to review the guidelines and look at the procedures that we need to put in place to make sure our residents are protected. So we didn't open up yesterday. We're looking.
Wait a minute. What does it mean to open up?
Well, that's a good question. It's not just a open door policy. You know, we're not just going to open the doors like we had in the past. It's a new normal, so to speak. So what it means is basically the families can come visit on the porches 6 feet apart wearing their mask. It also means that if you come in the building, you have to have a COVID test within, I think, 72 hours of entering the building, and you have to take your temperature and you have to fill out some forms. You can only stay a certain amount of time. You can't just go all through the building. You know, you have to go directly to the resident's room. So there are certain guidelines.
These are guidelines that you're pretty much mandated to
We
follow.
are.
Although you may agree with them, you didn't initiate it.
No, we didn't initiate it. But, hey, the bottom line is the families are going to be able to see their loved ones again. They can communicate with them face to face. So even though we have to follow some guidelines, I think it's great.
A couple of weeks, maybe.
A couple of weeks. We're looking at probably July 1st, maybe trying to get all that in place.
That's
about 2 weeks away.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks from tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, we're July 1st. I think we're going to try to do it. I think that'll give us enough time to make sure we have everything in place. We pretty much do now, but I think we just need to get used to the fact that people are going to start coming back through, and we just want to make sure we don't want an outbreak or anything like that. So we want to make sure everything is in proper order.
Well, from what we have heard, the track record here of all of this, people that you have in your community there are probably the most vulnerable, the ones who need to be more careful than anybody.
Right.
And so you're going to be.
Well, when you have, 70, 80, 90, 100-year-old folks in there, you've got to be extra careful. And we have been. Our staff has been fantastic. They've used the proper PPE. They've maintained social distances when they can, and most of the time we've eaten in our rooms and just been very, very careful. We've had no guests in the building, so we've gone through our testing and everything. Everybody's good. So I think it's time to reopen, and whatever that means, we're going to reopen and at least start having guests come through again.
You have vacancies?
We do. March was really good for us. April and May was very slow. We've got 3 residents moving in July 1st, so that's good. But we do have maybe 4 rooms left open, so large, medium rooms, great rooms available. Our prices are listed right on the website, so we don't hide anything. So if you go to Hearthside Senior Living or hearthsideliving.com or call us at 615-443-1994, we'll be glad to talk to you about it. We do virtual tours, and we'll continue to do that through this, I guess, what we would call phase 1 reopening, so to speak. But hopefully one day we can get people back in there doing tours. But right now we're doing virtual tours.
What's happening in your retirement community?
Well, thanks for asking. It's going great. We've got no vacancies down there. They're having a great time down there. They're starting to get out and about a little bit more, and of course they're totally independent. So they come and go as they please, but I'm starting to see them more and more. They come up to get their $3 meals. They come to the door to get their meals now, and they take it back home until we can have them back in the building. But we're all sold out down there. We got our road paved. Everything looks great down there. It looks fantastic. Hunky-dory. Everything's fine. I'm not worried about our independent living. We do have several people on the waiting list. We still get a lot of folks requesting brochures and information on our 2- and 3-bedroom homes. And I'm just thrilled to say that we've got a nice little waiting list. In fact, my Hearthside Hello, I'll go ahead and tell you, is Steve and Sharon Roush. They're on my waiting list, and they keep up with us on the radio about when there might be an opening. So if I say there's an opening, they're going to call me immediately. So hello to Steve and Sharon Roush. I can't wait to have them in the community one day.
Oh, I'll bet. Well, it does sound like things are looking up. It's been great in retirement community all along. The other, you've had to take more precautions, but going to ease up a little bit.
It's going to be great.
And I'm no doubt your people there in assisted living are looking forward for
they are looking forward to it. We're starting to get back into it, and I'm excited about it. April and May, man, it was rough for them, and they hung in there, and our staff hung in there, and I'm just thrilled to say we're coming out of it stronger than ever.
The garden's still doing
Garden's still doing well. Betty, our activities coordinator, she's still she's starting to do more activities with them in smaller groups now. So they're getting back out. They're doing great.
They shared anything with you from the garden?
No.
No.
They don't share. They don't share their stuff from the garden.
It's for them.
It's for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's about time for us to
I did my heart said hello. Stephen Sharon Rouse.
You did, but Sunday's Father's Day.
Thank you. I have two daughters. Allie turned 21 yesterday. My daughter.
Oh, wow.
Allie, she's 21, and I have a 19-year-old. And
are you looking forward to Father's Day?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. Are you?
Of course.
Father's Day is sort of secondary to Mother's Day.
It is.
It really is.
I don't think there's any question about that. A lot more money is spent.
Right.
A lot more phone calls probably on Mother's Day than this Father's
I know my
Day.
kids love me, but it's not to the level of Mother's Day. You know.
Well, I don't disagree with that.
And my father's still living, so I need to go see him or call him. So
yeah, good. Well, thanks for being with us. We always a joy to see you every Tuesday.
Thank you very much.
We'll do it next time.
Mike, have a good week.
All right.
You too.
All right.
See you.
All right, that is it for Hearthside Senior Living. Sean Dozier, Executive Director. You can give him a call, 615-443-1994, hearthsideliving.com on the website. We're about 21 minutes, 20 and a half to be more exact, to before 8 o'clock, as I welcome my part two guest, Mike Jennings, County Attorney, Mayor of Watertown, and good morning.
Good morning, Coleman. How are you?
What'd you think of the Georgia Bulldog?
Well, I met him outside. Seemed like a very nice fella in spite of his background. So, yeah. I say that jokingly. He seemed like a very fine fella. And I have some Georgia Bulldogs that live right down the street from me. They've got the dogs on their porch, the porcelain dogs and all of that. So this is a time of year. It's okay to support who you support. Let's just hope we all get to play.
Yeah, you've been doing okay?
Yeah, as far as I know.
Staying busy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a busy time of year, with budgets and stuff.
What you're saying, hopefully we get to play. I'll just say, I've been disappointed in the baseball situation here. I think there's too much jockeying around here, and they ought to have come together. And in fact, they ought to be about ready to play right now.
They should be. They should be. I think the one word to describe it's greed.
Yeah.
I've always been a player supporter, but I think they're being totally unreasonable now. I heard the other day the owners want to play a 72-game season, which is a little less than half, but they want 80% of their money. Well, it just doesn't work that way.
No. I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't believe we're going to have a season.
Get rolling, I think.
Hockey is, and NBA perhaps, and of course racing's already going, and so I think.
What about college football? What's your prediction? What are you hearing? Is it going to be any different?
I hear it the same thing you do. It could be anything from we'll watch it on TV to they'll only let so many people in to they'll just open it up, and if you want to go, it's up to you, and sign a waiver, and kind of like others are doing now. So.
Who's going to kill you if you have to miss a UT game?
I'm going to be at the gate looking in. I told somebody that I probably won't be, but we had a couple of good road trips this time too. We actually go to Georgia, but we go to Oklahoma as well, and Oklahoma's not that great a trip, but it's just that it's a place you don't go to very often, and so it's neat to go to. So
and really things. As we understand it, all the news coming out of Knoxville, it's going to be a lot better this year for you.
Well, it is. What concerns me, Coleman, is somebody else and I were talking about this the other day. The quality of play. Alabama's got 14 players that supposedly tested for COVID-19. Houston sent all theirs home until they could get it cleared up, University of Houston. What happens if you're getting ready for the big game and all of a sudden you got 20 guys that come down with COVID-19? Yeah. You got to quarantine them, and now you're down to playing your third-team people in the biggest game of the year. I mean, that coaches always say, you got to be ready to step up. In that case, you ain't got to be ready. You got to step up. And so, it could affect the quality of play, too.
Well, I wonder I wonder what the chances are of that happening. I read something. I guess it was yesterday, day before, how that we could stop all traffic fatalities in this country if we reduced the speed limit to 10 miles an hour. and we probably could.
Probably.
And on the other hand, I mean, this thing, I think it's baffled a lot of people as to how far we go with precautions.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
how many freedoms we infringe upon, which some have been, especially church attendance, in my opinion, has just been atrocious the way that's been dealt with in some states.
Well, I think it comes down to two things that are on the inside and things that are out in the open air. You know, when we talked about at Watertown having the parade and our fireworks show, what tilted me toward doing it while others were canceling theirs is that we're going to be outside. We can spread out.
Yeah.
Now, if we all had to gather in an auditorium, maybe not, you know, where we have to sit shoulder to shoulder. I do think, Coleman, that people were scared at the start, including the infectious disease folks, and maybe looking back in hindsight, they overreacted a little bit. But on the other hand, if they had not, and we had had hundreds of thousands of deaths, we'd have been complaining about that. So, but I still don't think they know exactly. You know, you read about some people that it really affects, and others say, I had it and didn't bother me at all.
All right.
So I don't know.
Got a minute before our break. What happened last night?
We have a budget in the county.
Got approved.
We got approved, no tax increase. So it's pretty much a status quo budget, but we're earliest I can ever remember.
All right. We will talk about that after this break with Mike Jennings. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:44. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford and the Works Vehicle Checkup, 5 quarts of oil, tax and disposal, tire rotation and safety check. They'll make sure your vehicle is ready for any road. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic. Here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. It's still moving right now as we check it out live. Here coming past the airport through Hermitage, Donaldson. Here on I-40 westbound at Spence Lane. There's a crash being cleared in Madison. It's Gallatin Pike at Walton Lane. It's much better now there at Alabama Avenue at 51st from that crash that had traffic tied up about 10-15 minutes ago. Hey, if your glasses keep fogging up, the answer is Zipwax Anti-Fog Cleaner, voted one of the best products under $20. Log on to ZipwaxAntifogCleaner.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour. Mike Jennings is my guest. Mike has been a regular since day one of Coleman Company, and got him here to talk about the county commission meeting right after that first program, or soon after, and he's a regular monthly feature here. We usually get started talking, since you're such a UT fan, I give you a little pulpit here when we start most weeks, but we are ready to really get to what happened last night, and the fact that a budget has already been passed is almost historical.
It is, and I've been doing this a little over 30 years. I don't know whether this is the 30th or the 31st budget, but I never remember having one this early, and I can remember being under the deadline of September 1 or August 31, and us be meeting the last week of August every other night trying to get it done.
Well, I know some of the story here, but it is unusual, but was it just paramount to get this thing in place right now?
Well, that's one of the factors. I think there were several. There was very little growth money, and growth money is usually where the fight is. Everybody says, you know, I need this or I need this. There's very little growth money. I think that will end up being 0.68%, where in the past it's been something like 4 or 5%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot of money in between there. And then we knew at the start it was going to be a status quo budget. Status quo would be the best we could do because we had to prepare contingency plans. Everybody was asked to cut 2%, 4%, or 6% should it become necessary. It has not become necessary yet, but we do know that certain revenues and on the revenue side are going to be down this year. We just don't know how much. Fortunately, the county has done such a good job of budgeting in the last few years that we built up a fund balance, a savings account. Mm-hmm. The savings account is still there. We just know that we're the status quo spending There were no raises given, and that's, I hate that for everybody. And like I say, there are things that the county needs. They need more fire stations right now. We need an expansion to the jail. And there's always things they need in the school system, but there's just not enough money this time. So those things will go on the back burner for at least a year, perhaps longer.
How much discussion was there? And I think you mentioned to me during the break maybe some amendments involved.
Yeah, the amendments didn't really involve a lot of substance, and I say that respectfully to the folks that offered them, but really the budget somehow this time by mistake with our health and welfare and recreation contributions, they went ahead and cut 25%. And there wasn't any, the request was status quo. So they realized it when we started talking development and tourism last week that, hey, we've already cut 25% out of this side, and it really wasn't required. So they went back last night and put it back to the status quo. And then they looked at the hotel motel tax. There's been some debate over the years. The hotel motel tax, 55% of that has been designated to go to the Ag Center. And it comes in and set in a separate fund for the Ag Center's budget. Development and tourism, or we should just say tourism, I guess, had 11% for many years, and they fought to get it up to 17%, but never really settled on that. But last night's budget had, the appropriation resolution had 17% in it, and the resolution the amendment was offered to reduce it back to 11, and they did that. But the truth of the matter is that's just on the revenue side. The expenditure side, it does not affect at all whether it's 11 or 17. In other words, tourism is going to get their money whether the hotel motel tax comes in or not. So those were the amendments, and when it came time to vote on the budget, it was 24 there, 24 for it, and 1 absent.
Well, that's you can't get much better than that.
No, that's pretty good.
You get 24 people to agree on anything.
That's right. In any venue, we've talked about that before. Yeah. Sports, church, government, anywhere.
Well, I think in a time like this to have everybody on the same page here, maybe that says a lot. Commissioner Bobby Franklin mentioned it last night, and the mayor mentioned it in his closing comments. But this county commission bought into the challenges that we were facing. They didn't say, well, no, let's take a look at this and dig into this, or that may not be right, or whatever. They accepted what was coming out of the federal government, now the state government, primarily about the cut in state revenues. And they accepted that and went straight forward without really, they kind of kept their eyes on the bullseye and didn't vary from it. All right. Now, how is this, the budget that's passed, how does the school fare in this, the Wilson County school system?
I think the school fares very well. Now, there may be some that will disagree with me, but they wound up between some additional money from the state and that type of thing. I think their revenue side was up about $8 million. And they say they need more, and they may very well. I mean, they have constant challenges, not the least of which is how we're going to open school this time. What's it going to require? And opening a new school, and then covering for 2 that were ravaged by tornadoes. So they have a lot of challenges there. The county did, in an effort to help them with their budget this time, forgave them for $1.9 million of a debt payment that they pay from their educational debt service into our debt service because we borrowed the money. They forgave that for 1 year. So that's $1.9 million that they've got to put somewhere else on operational expenses. So the next year, if there is a challenge out there, and there always is, but a great big challenge is the school system.
Do you know of lobbying for more from school board members or Dr. Wright or anybody with the schools necessarily?
There's always lobbying for more. This time it wasn't as open, I don't think. But, people, as a general rule in budgeting, people never get everything that they want. They may get everything they need. Sometimes they don't, but they never get everything they want. And so, like I say, people accepted it this year. The county commission certainly did. I'm sure the school system wanted some. Well, they do want some of the things. They sent over $10 million on a needs assessment. So, that's just money that wasn't there this time.
Well, is there a chance this could be revisited before September 1?
Yes. Yes. I don't see that on the, I don't see the facts out there to do that right now, but as I understand the comptroller's directions, they wanted you to have a budget by June 30, but you could amend it up to August 31. So if we wake up the end of July and we say, hey, sales tax revenues are worse than any of us thought about, then we may have to go back and implement one of those 2 or 4 or 6% cuts.
If the shoe was on the other foot and we got more, is there a chance you would be some extra expenditures put in there?
I'd say probably slim, just because you got to look at that and say, is this 1 month that it's up more than expected? Is that an aberration, or is it going to be a pattern? And
well,
you
let me
for a while.
deviate a little bit from the county here, since you're the mayor of Watertown and you're just do everything similarly, but on a much smaller scale. What are you facing in Watertown?
Watertown, we're in pretty good shape, Coleman. I had some things that I wanted to do. We're bringing our budget up tonight on first reading, by the way. No tax increase, no water and sewer rate increase. And I had some things I wanted to do. Our pay in Watertown is woefully behind everybody else's. And I wanted to try to get that more in the mainstream. I'm not going to be able to get there this time like I wanted to. 6 months ago, I was satisfied that we could make a dent in that difference between other municipalities and us. I'm not going to be able to do it all this time just because of the projections of state sales tax revenue being down. A lot of other state shared taxes that cities get are going to be down or predicted to be down. But what I have asked the comptroller, I sent an email yesterday, I did ask this question. If I look at this again in 90 days and our sales tax has come in better, can I do some of the things I wanted to recommend? I can't do anything. I have to recommend it. Can I recommend what I want to? And I'm waiting to hear that back. I think the answer is going to be yes.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm like everybody else. We just got to watch it and see what happens.
Well, it's interesting to me, and I mean, you being the county attorney, you kind of touch all areas of county government, really, even with the schools and everything. But I have started a series of interviews with all the candidates for school board, and there are 11 people running for 4 positions on the county side there.
I didn't realize that.
There are, and I've got an interview. We've already done 3, I believe, last week, and the other 8 we got coming up. But it depends on who you talk to as to what our needs are and what kind of job is being done. And I mean, I'm hearing everything. The different pictures, different opinions that I have gotten already. It's amazing. I mean, I don't think too many people are going to argue that we don't have some a pretty good track record as far as our education goes here, that the children are getting good education. We've won awards and all of this, but there are so many different opinions as to what needs to be changed or how much money needs to be spent, or we need to do this or we need to do that. It's kind of amusing to sit and listen to all of that. And the county commissioners that I talk to kind of fall in the same way there. They're either for or against it.
Makes for a good election year. I think people, not picking on anybody in particular, I think the school system has done a pretty good job. I think sometimes people that have not been in it don't realize what is involved now in educating a child. It's basically like giving that child a second home. You've got to educate them. You got to feed them. You got to keep them safe now. That's a high priority. You got to keep them healthy. We have school nurses. You have to deal with children who have challenges such as diseases or weak immune systems or whatever. They have to be kept safe.
And even special education is a big thing.
Special education is a big thing. Transportation is an issue. And, people say, well, just cut out transportation. Okay. But your average daily attendance or whatever they figure BEP on is going to fall and you're going to get less money. So do you save money that way or do you just, So there are a lot of things I think people who are newly elected when they get in there, and it's the same way the county commission, you get in there and then you realize everything that's involved in running that and you say, well, maybe we need this, maybe we need that. Now, is there waste in government? There's waste in every form of government. And I'm constantly looking for that in Watertown, trying to cut it out so I can make that money count for my employees.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want to do. I want them to have good jobs and good lives, but we have to cut out the waste to make that money available. It's just a limited pocket. You can't go to the well but 2 or 3 times, and then you're out of water.
Well, now that we did pass the budget last night, I think there was a few other things we haven't even talked about. Anything worthwhile there? Or,
we had 2 or 3
I don't
budget
mean
amendments.
worth our mentioning.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had 2 or 3 budget amendments, and we approved our sheriff's litter grant again last night. One thing that was pretty significant, we had a resolution on there to apply for the grant from the Local Government Cares or something act that the governor and the legislature put out. We were going to get about $1,590,000. The word came down yesterday, you don't have to apply for it. We're going to give it to you, you know, to cover what you've lost. And then the mayor announced last night that he received word from Representative Susan Lynn that because they had overpaid Nashville and Shelby County, they were going to take some of that money back and divide it up, and we're going to get another $400,000.
Yeah.
So we're going to get close to $2 million.
I think he heard that yesterday
While
as
he was on your show?
coming in, yeah, and he was elated about that.
Oh, yeah.
That's good news. That helps.
You watch how Watertown changes if somebody brings me $400,000. We'll make it go a long way.
Well, like I said, I mean, you're still government. You just do things on a much smaller scale.
We do, and we're expected to do all the things that every other government is. But right now, I think, and I'm not involved with Lebanon or Mount Juliet, but I had no reason to believe they hadn't done the same thing. I think the county and Watertown have done what they can with what they have and have done it in a responsible manner. So.
Well, we've got 25 seconds before it's time to say sine die or whatever.
Let's tee it up. I hope they play it. You know, I'm really concerned about high school athletics.
Yeah.
If they can't start school, you know what that means.
Yeah. Well, we're living in different times. There's no question about that.
Yeah, we are.
The new normal is probably what we've got to adjust to.
Yeah, I don't know that we were ever normal, but it's certainly new, you know.
Thank you for being with us.
Sure, I enjoy it.
All right, that is it for Tuesday. Join us tomorrow. Till then, I wish you a terrific day.